All right, so today we're going to create our hex nut. So here's the bolt that we created in the previous video. We're going to, in this same document, hit the plus sign to create a new part. And if you notice, it renames a new and creates a new tab. I'm also going to right click and rename this tab the hex nut. That way we can really quickly tell which tab is for which part. I'm going to click in the open space to confirm. All right, so we're going to model this very similar to how we did the hex bolt. So I'm first going to create a sketch on this top plane. And again, a lot of dimensions are going to be similar. Why? Because they have to function together, right? So similar to the other one, we're going to start with a polygon, and more specifically, we are going to create a hexagon with 6 sides. So click to make that stay since it's 6. If this is a different number, don't worry, just right click, hit escape, and then you can double click on that value and enter in the correct number of sides, okay? But so far we are good, so I'm going to hit enter. The next step is we're going to measure and dimension across the flat. So click on one side, the next side of the hexagon, click to make it stay, and we want that to be 1/2 of an inch to match the hex bolt head, okay? Hit escape. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so that we can kind of zoom in a little bit more. All right, our next step though is we're actually going to draw a circle in the center, and that's going to represent kind of the hole in the middle of the nut, right? So I'm going to click on this circle, click on the origin, move it out, click to make it stay. I'm going to click on my dimension tool, click on that circle, and we are going to make it 1/4 of an inch, right, which is 0.25, but I'm going to add a really small value to make it a little bit bigger, and that's just due to tolerances with the 3D printer that I typically use. So I'm going to go ahead and click on enter, and there is our sketch that we need to start with. So click on the green check mark to confirm. I'm going to switch to the isometric view and zoom in so that I can kind of check as I'm going to extrude it. So click on extrude. We are adding a face, and the face that we're going to add is this outside ring. We're not going to add the inside, only the outside, right? Because we want the hole in the middle. So click it here, but we don't want 1 inch. Instead, we want the same dimension as the bolt head, which is 3/16. Oops, 16ths. We'll click in the open space to confirm it. When I click on add, it was having some challenges because I think there's a few things going on. So just make sure it's on new right now. And since it still is giving the correct preview of what we want to do, then you can go ahead and click on the green check and confirm it. There we go. Okay, so our next step is we want to add the professional kind of touch, which means we want to shave off like these little corners. To do that, I'm going to create a sketch we're going to do it on the bottom first. Okay, so this flat surface, so I'm going to click on the bottom, zoom in so I can check it out a little bit better. And remember, similar to how we did the hex head, we're going to add 2 circles. Our first circle starts at the origin. Oh, I don't think I did start at the origin because I think I moved. So hit escape to exit out. So I'm going to click on the circle again. Make sure I'm at the origin. Click. Then go towards the flat edge so I get that tangent symbol to make it an inscribed circle. Click to make it stay. And if you notice, yeah, perfect, that dimension right there, because that should be 0.5. It goes all the way across. Then I'm going to create another circle that's larger. And that was going to be 1 inch, just like it was on the hex bolt. I'm going to click on the green check to confirm. I'm going to rotate it so that we can see it clearly. Good, there we go. Now we're going to use extrude, and we are going to remove this face and then these corners, okay? And I know it's going to look funny for a second, just like it did the hex head, because we have to add this draft in. So click on that draft. Remember, it goes inward, so you want to switch the direction. So click on that. And then instead of 3 degrees, you want to make sure that it is at 60, okay? And you can click, after you type that in, remember you can click once once in this open space to get the right preview so that you can confirm that you selected all the sides and it looks good. All right, green check. There we go. Now we're going to do it on the other side. So I just clicked on that view cube to kind of rotate it and zoom in to see. So this side has those corners cut, but this side and face does not. So I'm going to create a 2D sketch on this face. I'm going to look at that top view straight on. Now we're going to add those two circles again. So click on the circle tool, click on the center, click on the edge to make sure that it is, and that's not lining up for a second. So I'm going to try this again one more time. The circle tool, there we go. Make sure it's in the center there, and now we'll see if we can go, there we go, to the end. So it looked like you just have to be careful of the symbols that you see, because every once in a while it won't line up, and you want to make sure that it does, on sometimes, not all the time. So click on the center again, because now we need to make our circle that's larger. Click to make it stay, and remember that dimension we want it to be 1 inch, so type in 1 and hit enter. Go ahead and click on the green check. We're going to rotate it. There we go. And we're going to click on extrude. And we're going to click on these shapes. And I'm going to click on remove so you can kind of check it out better, right? Click on that one, click on that one. Just be careful when you're clicking. You can very easily click the wrong side. And if you do, again, don't worry about it. You can always fix it. You can, if you selected one that you didn't want to, go over here. I can close it. Oh, look, no, I actually really want that. So click on the shape again. Okay. All right, now remember, we need to add this draft in here. And we need to switch the direction. So click on that circle and then change that degree to 60. And I'm going to click in this open space, and there you go. Kind of cuts off the corners. Green check to confirm. And there is a great start to our hex nut. Okay. All right, so our next step is now we need to add the threads in the middle. And again, it's going to be really similar to what we did before on the hex bolt. Our first step is we have to create the helix, right, which is going to become the path of our sweep that we will end up using. So click on the helix, click on that cylinder, but be careful. We don't want the number of turns. Remember, because we want the pitch to match our bolt. So we're going to change this to pitch, and we're going to change what our actual pitch was, which remember, it's 1 divided by the number of threads, so it's 1 divided by 28. I'm going to click in this open space, and there are all of our kind of threads, where our threads are going to be located. Click the green check to confirm, and there is our helix. Awesome. All right. Now, here's the start point of that helix, it looks like, right here. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to click on it just so I can kind of visually see it as I zoom out. And I want to zoom out. Why? Because I want to double check. Yep, looks like it's sitting right on that front plane right here, right? So if I click on that too and I kind of rotate it, yep, there, directly in line. Cool. All right, so click in the open space to have that go away. That means I'm going to create a sketch on this front plane. Okay, click on the front plane to kind of look at it. And I'm going to go ahead and actually draw the triangle that we need to cut out, right? But this time, our triangle is going to face the opposite way. So previously, we drew a triangle like this, and it went inward. We don't want to go inward, right? Because here, if we drew that inward, it's just going to cut into the already cut hole that's there. We don't want to do that. So instead, we want to draw a triangle out this way, okay? And again, we need to make it an equilateral triangle. So click on that equal sign, click on one side, click on the next side, and click on that same side, and click on the third side. Now all sides are equal, okay? Now the next step is we need to determine the length of this. And remember before, typically that's going to be the thread, right? So, or the pitch, which is 1 divided by 28. But again, as we mentioned before, where there is a little error that does tend to occur, so we're going to make it a little bit smaller still. So it's going to be 0.035 now our next step is we want to align, so I'm going to kind of rotate it, this, and use this pierce tool so that it lines up on our helix. So click on the pierce tool. I'm going to click on this bottom point again, and now I'm going to click on the helix, and it should line right up. Awesome. All right, now our next step. We are going to click on the green check. We can go ahead and try our sweep tool. And we are going to first click the region, which is this right here. Now we need to select the sweep path. So click on that red box and I can click on my helix. And if you notice right now it's adding. We don't want to add it. We want to remove. And if I do that, you can check it out. Kind of gets a little bit of a preview. And looks pretty good. There you go. You can see a little bit better at that angle. Yep, looks pretty good. Click green check so that we can double check it out. And there is our nut. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and turn these planes off. That way, when I click on the isometric view, bam, there is your hex nut.